I've been testing the Possway T3 for about a month now and have found myself riding it often and really enjoying my time out on it. It is fairly straightforward, offering a solid, basic board at a really affordable price with a couple extra features that I really like. This is a speedy electric longboard driven by dual 500-watt rear hub motors and a 42-volt, 7.8 amp-hour swappable battery. With a top flat ground speed of almost 30 miles an hour, this packs a ton of bang for the buck in the performance category. Being a hub-driven board, it does struggle a bit speed-wise on steeper hills, but it has managed to crawl its way up every hill that I've ridden on it so far, and unless you live in a super hilly area, this board should be sufficient for daily riding. It's just over 3 feet long, allowing for a wide, stable riding position. The board shape puts the widest sections where your feet should go, and even with my larger shoe size, the board is plenty wide. The 9-ply maple and bamboo deck is flexy and springy, making for a cushy, comfy ride, perfect for cruising and carving. Ride comfort is enhanced by one of my favorite features of this board, the large, soft 78A 105mm wheels. With how easily you can be stopped in your tracks on a skateboard or longboard by a pothole, debris, or raised section of sidewalk, having large impact-absorbing wheels is a must for everyday riding and commuting. These wheels have performed excellently, eating up obstacles and bumps in their way and keeping me from eating it while riding. Sidewalk riding is where there is an especially noticeable improvement over smaller wheeled boards. Other wheels jump and skip around a lot on sidewalk cracks and can make riding unstable or throw you into a wobble even at lower speeds. The wheels on the T3 have significantly reduced these issues for me. The hexagonal tread pattern has offered good traction, and I felt no slipping or sliding of the wheels while riding. They grip the ground well even in high-speed turns. The wheels have even been good enough to do a bit of off-road riding. It's not exactly comfortable to do for long periods, but if you need to use a stretch of dirt road to get somewhere, then it'll be able to handle that. The remote is scroll wheel style, scroll up to accelerate and scroll down to brake. This is standard for boards like this and is intuitive and quite easy to get used to using. The 4 riding modes can be switched using the remote. You have low, mid, high, and pro modes available. The riding modes control both acceleration and top speed, allowing new riders to start off in a low riding mode with a very gentle acceleration curve and work their way up as they get comfortable. I spend most time riding in pro mode as it is the most fun mode to ride in, with uncapped top speed and more aggressive acceleration. However, high is a great balance of speed, acceleration, and range capabilities. This is the perfect mode if you are comfortable on an e-skate but want a more casual feel to the ride and a few extra miles of range. Low and medium seem to be good for learning to ride, or if you want to ride slowly or have a reason to ride slowly, like around people, or if you're keeping pace with the one wheel. You can also swap into reverse if the board is at a standstill, so theoretically you never have to get off the board, but it's probably just easier to jump off it real quick and move the board instead of standing on it in 3-point turning. The remote is rechargeable but uses so little battery that I've only had to charge it once in a whole month of riding, and even when I charged it, it still had about half of its battery left. No need to worry about the remote dying while riding. A convenient feature is the auto switch on when the board starts rolling. You don't have to bend over, flip the board over, or press the power button. Just jump on and start riding and the board will turn on automatically. The range on this board is almost exactly what I was expecting, getting 11 miles in my range test, riding in the pro mode the entire time. Riding in lower modes would get you a few more miles. There was very little drop off in performance throughout the duration of the battery. It was most noticeable really only for the last mile after it gave me the first low battery warning, with the top speed being reduced by a couple miles an hour. There is the option to swap the battery on this model, but it's a bit of a process. Rather than just popping it in and out like the Auditor S3, which I reviewed a while ago, you have to fully unscrew the screws keeping the battery on the back of the board and then screw in the new one. Not the worst thing ever, but also not the best system I've ever seen. I didn't get an extra battery, so I wasn't able to test it myself, but it is nice to at least have it as an option. I love the idea of being able to simply carry a battery or two in your backpack to double or triple your range for longer rides. Or you can keep one battery charging at home and one at work and simply swap them for the ride each way if you have a longer commute. Braking is entirely regenerative and does a surprisingly great job of stopping the board quickly. The board also coasts pretty well when the accelerator is released and won't slow down aggressively until the brake is engaged. The trucks are a very standard kingpin design. Turning and carving has felt totally fine, though I'm no expert on trucks. I did have to tighten them down a bit to combat some speed wobble I was getting initially, but even with tightened trucks, the turning felt quite responsive and tight. The board is IP65 dust proof and water resistant, so you don't have to worry about damaging the board on dirt or riding through a puddle. It probably wouldn't be the best idea to ride it in the rain, even with the IP rating, but riding in the rain with an e-skate sounds sketchy anyway. The board makes carrying its 20-pound weight much more awkward because of how long it is. It is doable, obviously, but I do sometimes have to set it down or adjust it in my arm if I'm carrying it around a store for an extended period of time. This board has been my go-to choice for short distance errand running and for relaxing cruises around the neighborhood when I feel like getting out of the house. Being able to cruise over to the grocery store, carry the board under my arm or stick it in a cart, pick up a few things, then be able to carry the bag in my hand while I ride home is super convenient. Not having to lock up a scooter or e-bike outside a store makes getting in and out and back home easy. The feeling of just being able to carve and cruise on a board like this, especially at the speeds this board can do, is a feeling different from the feeling of riding any other PEV. E-skates are so low maintenance and simple, and the fundamental designs of skateboards, longboards have been around for so long that so many companies seem to have figured out how to make a reliable board at a great price. I know a large majority of viewers and subscribers of this channel are electric scooter and e-bike riders, but if you are a PEV fan, then you should seriously consider giving e-skates a try. This is probably one of the most approachable e-skates that you can buy for a first-time rider. The large, soft wheels and long flexible deck make it a comfortable and easy board to ride. There's a ton to like in the Possway T3 and at a really reasonable price, so check it out at the link in the description and let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.